Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you all for being here. So, we have been talking about the spiritual practice to stand fast in our peace, in our neutrality, as we were asked to do in the channeling but from the Galactic Region Council. And I want to kind of slow down and bring a lot of the pieces together to talk today about what actually is happening with the torsion field. Because you see, what we are not realizing, and a lot of us have a misconception of what ascension is. We keep thinking that ascension is just about the angels and the masters coming in, or that it's all of a sudden a flash and you have an experience and then you have access to all kinds of knowledge that exists in the entire universe. We romanticize is that something that it may not be. To my understanding and to my own personal experience, ascension is a different way of understanding your awareness in space. It's a completely different way of actually realizing your beingness. Okay? Instead of it being, I am trapped in the edge of my skin and I can look at my arm, it's when the torsion field are done correctly and you've done the practice long enough, it's you actually standing in spiritual rectitude and verticality, sensing that you're part of this immense column of all of these counter-rotating toruses, all the way back to the throne room of God, and that they all exist in neutrality. And when you have that understanding and that awareness, and even after the practice itself, you get up and the awareness is still with you, you have shifted, ascension has begun. And that shift and that ascension, that awareness, that shift that occurs is extremely important because it begins to, what it will do is that once that awareness continues, the sound, the ringing in the ear, will increase even when you're outside. You will be aware of it, and it's telling you that you're in sync with God and you're aligned. So you and the universe are one. You're like a starling in a flock of you're like one starling in a murmuration of starling, and you're there with the universe, and the universe is behind you. You're with one merge with the universe. And you don't have to make too many efforts for miraculous and synchronicity to happen in your life. It's just that they will begin to happen kind of naturally. And you will begin to sense and hear. You have to bring a thought to the field, a bare thought and bare idea or concept, and all of a sudden it shows up in some ways in your life. You have an echo from the universe to bring and manifest it for you. And that awareness, and by the way, we talked long ago about the begone time and space, and a way for us to take that column, that rectitude and verticality, and project it outside. This is divine. This is theurgy. It's actually a ceremonial magic. It's divine magic. And you project it and you say begone time and space, and you project your hand and you see the column as you're saying begone time is shifting. That's the column you're moving. So when you're saying the begone time and space and you're projecting, the entire rectitude that you're feeling, you project it into a space. And then you see the torsion field being recreated again, and you follow it with your breath, and then you put in an intention, like heal, peace to the world, whatever it is that the intention may be. And once you do this, when I do a remote for somebody, it's something similar to this that I'm doing. Not so dramatic, it's not theurgy, but because I simply do my torsion field and I sensed where I think about the person's name, I sense where they are in the field around me. Wherever I feel them, I ask the guardian to create a torsion field around them. And then whatever it is I'm supposed to do for healing, for an intercession, I put a small prayer in there. and I let the field take care of the rest. Usually I get impression, I get sensation from it, and I can report back to the person and tell them this is what I perceive. Or sometimes I have the person on the phone while I'm doing this. I tell them to be quiet for a moment, and this doesn't take any more than 5 minutes for me to do. So that's what you're projecting. It's that entire column. But to get to the place of actually sensing that column, it's a whole reorganizing and rearranging of remember that we had spoken maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago about Frank Mesmer as the father of hypnotherapy, that he was a Austrian doctor that went into France, and he began to discover something he called animal magnetism, that he could heal a whole bunch of patients by, and what he did was very dramatic. There was live music being playing in his salon where he was doing these things, and these groups sessions, and men and women would come in, and then he would have them sit sometime in a tub of metal, and they would hold metal rods in their hand, or he would hold it, and then he would simply give them simple command, and people would start going hysterical, pass out, or cry, or laugh hysterical, and a lot of their problem would go away, right? And he was ridiculed, but a lot of what he did as well was also suggestion by inducing people. So the French, however, have 2 terms. To be a hypnotist or hypnotherapist is one thing, and that has to do with suggestion, with verbal command or visual command, or pendulum swinging back and forth, a repetitious meditation. You're going deeper and deeper. You're going down the stairs. Whereas a person who's a magnetiseur doesn't need to do this. They stand in that flow of a magnetic field, and it was correct. What he was perceiving was a torsion field. But the torsion field, okay, in subquantum particles, in our entire universe, there are 18, if you think of consciousness and unconscious awareness, there are 18 fields that are like lava lamp. They intersect with each other, and they move in kind of like fluidic, almost like a flock of starlings that are on numeration. They create all these unusual geometries. Sometimes they are very fast, sometimes they are very slow. And that kind of energy, magnetism exists in it, quartz particle, and neutrinos, which are neutral, also exist in it. Okay? Which is the energy of the torsion field itself. And the reason I'm mentioning this is that I want all of us to be on the same page about this. That what we are focusing on is to create a series of internesting torsion fields that are of neutrality. And by the way, while you're doing the torsion field 3 times a day, you're going to have to negotiate and begin to shift your conscious awareness as you're digesting the field that's being created around you. What does neutrality mean to you? I remember when I initially found the Guardian, or they came to me many years ago in 2008, I thought my first experience with them and I'm going to repeat part of it. There was a family that was attacking me upstate, and they came to me for my protection. And when the first Guardian showed up to me, as I said to you, it was a man in 3D. I'm not talking about an image or a visual. I felt somebody was looking at me. I opened my eyes. There was a face, kind of 3/4, looking at me, like right there. And I got startled, but the face was not human. It was a human being, but the skin, no melanin. It was white as a sheet of paper. And the entire eye was completely blue. Completely blue. And he stated, not verbally but telepathically, I'm going to show you a method by which nothing in time and space can touch you. And at that moment, I was scared. I said, please show me. And in an instant, I saw the whole geometry in my head. And then he didn't have to say. I just saw the whole thing. And then he said to me, the next thing he communicated was the following: do it now. Close your eyes and do it now. And I closed my eyes and I did exactly the geometry that I saw. And when I opened my eyes, he was gone. But I thought, and then later on at night, I heard a voice says to me, this is the energy of neutrality. And I thought to myself, okay, I declare myself neutral. And I thought that's all I needed to take, is just make a statement, a decree. I'm neutral. I have learned so much about neutrality. I don't even begin to, the depth of it is so immense. I'm still learning. Particularly right now when we are in a world that's at war, where there are all kinds of chaos that are going on. There are all kinds of explosions that are happening, not only personally in our lives, but also planetarily, because the planet, the karma of the planet got accelerated for this year. What I'm saying is that it's important for us to understand that the what does neutrality mean to you? I told you years ago that over 2 years of teaching, or 3 years, 2009 actually, barely 2 years after I met the Guardian, there was a man that came to me through somebody else that was in the class, and after 2 months or so, he said, I want to have a private session with you. And during the private session, he confessed to me, I've shared that story before, that he was the high priest and he named a fallen angel. I said, I want to be honest with you. I love what you're doing. I want to do that as well, but I'm going to tell you the other side. I'm a high priest for this. I freaked out. I thought he was a spy. I freaked out, but I kept my composure. I didn't say anything. And as soon as he left my apartment, and I remember I heard the elevator door open and close. The moment it closed, I ran into my meditation chair and I asked my guide, please help me. I'm scared. What do I do? And you know what the response was? Laughter. And then a voice said to me, what did you think that neutrality was? That only the light was going to come to you? I was like puzzled. I'm like, what does that mean? And then the voice continued, this man is not just a high priest from this fallen angel. He is one incarnated aspect of that fallen angel. That is battle fatigue and seeking neutrality. That blew my mind. That exploded. And I was like, but what do I do? And then the voice returned back and said, teach him everything. And most of all, love him unconditionally. And for those of you who were in class, for the 3 years that followed where this man was with us, every time he was leaving, I would make sure that I give him a big hug, like a real hug, and keep telling him I love you, because I wanted him to understand, not just him, but the fallen angel, because in a past life I battled that fallen angel. That was my karma with him. I wanted that angel to know that I love you unconditionally. I'm not afraid. I'm not trying to hold anything back. I'm teaching you everything I know. So neutrality is going to be an evolution for you in terms of you, your relationship to people in your environment, and your relationship to your own self and your own consciousness. And I need you to pay attention to what neutrality does. I know there is a energetic and vibratory sensation when you're doing the torsion field practice. But it's not just that. It's how you also understand that magnetic volume that gets created that we call the torsion field. How do you understand that neutrality to be? What is it to you? Is it that nothing in time and space can touch me? And if that is the case, why, when I'm walking around, am I allowing my light to shrink by event, by circumstance, by everything that's around me, if I know that nothing in time and space can touch me? So I have to walk in certainty. I have to be my frequency, because I'm grounding this energy. My frequency, my awareness of this has to be completely different. It has to evolve. It has to grow. So there's all these nuances that we need to figure out and work out so that we can shift our awareness into a proper alignment to the vibratory and the magnetic flow that the torsion field is creating around us. Does that make any sense?
Yes. Um, what I as you were talking, um, does that you pointed out to me that in all time, so if a person has left the physical, you can still um, you know, have neutrality with that.
You can resolve any kind of
Resolve.
conflict, because neutrality is
Okay.
it's accelerated conflict resolution.
Mhm.
You can
Okay.
still resolve and become neutral to them. It doesn't matter if they are not, even if they are not here.
Yeah. Okay.
You can still resolve it.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so the because energetically the signature is there. The, nothing created, nothing destroyed. So it's a question of like being in the torsion field, being neutral and negotiating, having a conversation and realizing that you're on your path. I'm on my path. Whatever lesson we needed to learn, we hopefully have learned them, and let's move on.
Mhm.
Good luck on your journey. I bless you.
Mhm.
Let's move on. I don't resent you. Whatever it was, and I need to move on.
Mhm. So do we say the Hono prayer to that?
Yes, you can do that. That will help you become neutral, because that's a good skill. That's a good tool to allow
Okay.
us to become neutral. Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, yes. And also an understanding, as you're creating the torsion field now, that you won't allow your boundaries to be breached anymore, because this is what the torsion field is going to create around you. It's going to create an impeccable and impenetrable force field around you that will not allow anything to breach it, as long as you keep doing the practice.
Mhm.
Now I'm becoming aware of the torsion field in a very different way, as I'm doing it much slower and my awareness of it. Okay, let me explain in a different way. So remember I told you that the ascension is actually a different way of seeing your beingness in space.
Mhm.
Okay? But that understanding, you may have it, for example, for 6, 7 hours a day, and then after that it ebbs down, and you go back into connecting back into your physical body. And this is why we keep doing the practice, because if you can maintain the practice 3 times a day, it will allow you to stay more and more. So initially it would be sine waves. There comes a point where the sine wave is going to go so high that it's going to pass a certain threshold from the graph to be so elevated that it will not dip to go back into you feeling disempowered, as fragmentation, as being separated from God. But the awareness is that I belong. It's a shift. that I belong to this immensity.
Mm.
And that immensity and I are one. I'm not alone. I belong to this gigantic and immensity. That's what it is. Now, angels may show up. The Guardian Alliance on Light may show up as well. You may, particularly if you're very visual, you will see them. All kinds of things will show up. But the main thing is a shift in consciousness. That I'm not alone and I belong to this gigantic field. And I'm continuously connected to this immensity. As I said before, when you get, and at some point in the future, as you're doing this, you're going to get to a point where you're going to actually visually go into what I call the white space, which is a visual impression of what that field looks like. Instead of directional light, like the sun or a flashlight above you, coming down on you, the light is there and I'm separated from it, but it's you inside the light.
Okay.
And it feels like you're inside a fog. It's white everywhere, but there is no direction where the light is coming from. It emanates from everywhere. And typically for me, other people see themselves with a body. Typically for me, I don't see a body. I just know that I am present in that light. I'm there, but I don't have a body. That understanding of, because every guardian, the first guardian, the gift that it brings you, which is the antakarana of beings who are in neutrality in the fourth dimensions. The second guardian, neutrality as understood by being in the fifth dimension. Third guardian, sixth dimension, seventh, and so on and so forth, all the way back into the 12th guardian and the throne room of God. So, and they're all stacking on top of each other. First torsion field, it's like a babushka. There's a version of me. There's me in 3D, and on top of me, there's a version of me that's more etheric, that has 7 chakra system, and a torsion field gets created on top of this. So that energy passes from the bottom of the core of the earth, the bottom of my feet, my core, and passes through the outside of my top of my head, the bottom of my fourth dimensional chakra system, all the way to the top of the fourth dimensional chakra system. And when it gets there, and it's a funnel, and when it gets there, it explodes out, and the filament wraps around, and they bend, and they come back to the bottom where it initiated from, underneath my feet. Basically, if you can see this, it's this geometry. Except the funnel that's wrapping, that funnel is inside of me. Okay? The funnel is inside of me. So I wanted you to get a visual to understand it. So when I create the torsion, when I witness the God, because I'm not creating, when I witness the guardian creating it, I take several breaths now, at least for one of the practices. I take several breaths, and then I let my awareness follow. The funnel comes first, and then it gets to the top of my head. Sometimes it happens very fast. 1 breath, 2 breaths, and all of a sudden I can feel the filament bending down, going to the bottom of my feet. It's closing, and it creates a donut, but I am inside the donut. Everything is wrapping around me. So the magnetic, it's magnetic. It's the shape of that a magnet would create around poles. It's magnetic. So magnétiseur is the term. Okay. So that's what it's creating, right? and I'm very aware of this, and I allow my consciousness to follow it until it closes. All the filament close, everything close, and the loop gets created. And after that is done, then the second guardian axis get extended from the top of my head, and it now moves to my entire fourth dimensional chakra system, and then extend into my entire fifth dimensional chakra system, and it attracts now the second guardian. This time the funnel is going from top of the fifth dimensional chakra system, funnel down, top of the fourth dimensional chakra system, funnel down, top of my head, passing through my core, going to the bottom of my feet into the core of the earth, and at the bottom of the core of the earth, it can explode, and it closes similar to this, but from the bottom this time. And it wraps on top of where it started. But inside of it is the first torsion field. So everything is nested. Right? And then as it continues, it goes, there are 12 of them that are all nesting with each other. They get bigger, deeper, taller, and they keep going and going. And each one of them is bringing you an understanding of neutrality that's deeper and more elevated and more nuanced. Like for me, the breakthrough of what neutrality was with that experience I just described to you with that man. It was a big breakthrough for me because I thought I knew what neutrality was. It's like mind your own business, be like Switzerland, don't get involved, walk away. That's what, no, it's not a disconnect to the injustices of the world. It's something much more profound. Because the people who are so-called in the dark, or some of them are so battle fatigued that they are prepared to try something different. This is the way peace is really negotiated. When both sides realize that war is not an option anymore because the destruction is far-reaching for every side, that both sides are now battle fatigued, they're like, okay, let's figure something else out. But the understanding that I'm holding in my torsion field right now, that particularly with everything else that's going on, that's trying to steal this construct, because literally what you're doing is that you're cultivating an infrastructure. You're trying to drill an opening through which you can puncture yourself out of the 3D, the Serapine. This is what we're doing with this, is that we're trying to drill an opening through the Serapine. Illusion that the demiurge is holding us in as being separated from God. Right? And so as you're doing this, what I'm doing is that I keep reminding myself the distraction that exists in the world right now. And if I allow any of it to come in, I have to remember nothing in time and space can hurt me when I'm holding this frequency. This is what neutrality is. As I'm cultivating this and I'm doing this, your understanding of neutrality will change. It's not just vibration, but the way you're going to process the vibration into practical term that relates to you, emotionally, subconsciously, is going to shift as well. It's going to go much deeper than that. Even in your own past life, things that you were battling with are going to come. And right now, Mercury is retrograde, by the way. And it will go out of retrograde March 20th. But there's some good news as well, because everything is accelerating. Venus was also retrograde, and will go out of retrograde the 10th of March, which is this Tuesday. This is a huge thing because Venus holds the energy of Lakshmi, of the goddess. And Lakshmi is the goddess of abundance. And I don't mean just money, but love, healing, any kind of gift that comes from the universe. And it's a big deal to have Venus now go direct instead of being retrograde. And on the 31st, which is the end of this month that we're in now, Jupiter is going out of retrograde after being in retrograde for over a year. Which is a big deal as well because Jupiter is the expansion planet. So if we're doing our practice for this month in earnest, whatever we are creating, not only will Lakshmi gift us uh, uh, um, uh, the abundance and the flow to allow it to flourish, but Jupiter will expand it. And moreover, on March 20th, Mercury is going out of retrograde as well. So this month, if you're doing your work and you're staying in your seat at home, where you're doing the deep work, it's going to be extremely and critically fruitful to shift you into something else.
Can I ask a question here?
Yes, yes, yes.
You've said that there is no such thing as a safe place, only safe people.
Yes.
And I'm thinking that by this you mean the torsion field is providing that safety for you wherever you are, if you are even in a war zone or let us say an unsafe place, that you will be safe as long as you are in that torsion field. Healing, whatever repairs are needed in your life come with that as well. What happens though if doubt comes in? Does that destroy the torsion
Yes,
field?
it does.
Uh-huh.
Yes, it does. And that's why you're doing the practice over and over again. This is why you have it like a sine curve.
Yes.
The moment is very high because you have the certainty in a moment, doubt slipped in. Again, the therapy is still there. Things are being projected toward you. You're empathing it to other people. You pick up their fear. And then the doubt slips right in. And then it goes down. And then
And,
you have to keep doing the practice again. And yeah.
and would that extend to any negative thought, let's say, frenzied work environment, for instance? Would
Yes.
that destroy a torsion field?
Yes, 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 yes. And yes, it would. Yes, it would. And this is why the practice is necessary. And the more you do the practice, the more it will hold you back. It will pull you back. And there will come a time though, after you cross a certain threshold. Let's say toward the end of this year, having done this so steady, where the default is going to be you in rectitude. And you will not be separated anymore. In other words, you will break through the glass ceiling of the seraphim.
I also wanted to just say that just an observation about the retrograde planets. We think of them as being in some way negative in that their direct motion is a release. I remember though Monty used to say there is a very powerful benefit from them, and that, for instance, with Mercury retrograde, it goes retrograde the number of, let us say, months or weeks in the year that is proportionate to the amount of sleep we have in a night, in a day.
Wow.
So in that sleep state, there is a benefit of um, retrospection, of reflection, of healing, and he always used to say anything that has an RE on it, research, reflect, reset. All of that applies to a Mercury retrograde,
Mhm.
and it is something that we shouldn't try to. I don't want to say fear, but avoid, but maximize the potential of that period of time, so that when it goes direct, you're in a state of being able to flourish or expand more.
Yes, absolutely. I completely agree with you. And one of the things that happened for many people in Mercury retrograde as well is that your past come forward. People you have not heard from for years, even if the person is deceased, you start dreaming about them. All kinds of things like this begin to happen.
Mm.
and it shows up because that's whatever feelings and emotion that was still unresolved. This is the opportunity to resolve it. You don't start anything new in Mercury retrograde, but what you need to terminate and resolve, you terminate it. That's the way I use it.
Mhm.
Whatever I need to end, whatever I need to resolve, as I'm becoming more and more neutral, I try to resolve it during that time.
There's another RE word,
Yes,
resolve.
yeah, yeah. I have to tell you that I have to be careful though, because before I have any conversation with anybody in Mercury retrograde, I have to pray upon it and ask God to speak through me, because there's another part of Mercury retrograde, that the miscommunication, that will make me see some nasty and evil things. Okay? I don't have any filters. They just go out, and I'm
Mm,
going to say exactly what's in, without any finesse.
yes.
And I'm going to be appear as being cruel when I don't mean to be. This is part of the miscommunication. So if I'm going to have a conversation with somebody from my past just tried to communicate with me, and this is something that I've been holding for a long time, as a family member, I'm going to have to wait after the 31st, because I know I'm not ready. I can feel my emotion going all kinds of ways. I'm like, I'm not ready to have this conversation, because I'm going to say all the wrong things. I need to do a lot of to get myself calmed down to be able to have that conversation.
Interesting. So probably some kind of past life.
Yeah, there's karma. There's karma. There's karma. Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, this is me learning how to be neutral to this individual.
Hmm. Good use of a Mercury retrograde.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It points all these things out to me. I note them down. I write them out. Okay, this is something I need to do. I need to do a lot of work to get myself to a point where I can actually deal with this. I need to, and then once I feel ready and prepared, I can have the conversation from an ascended place, not from a place of putting blames. You did this to me, blah blah blah, and how could you have done blah 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 blah, blah. This is why I'm reacting this way, and no victim, 50%.
I think you've said also at the same time, in those kinds of relationships from the past that have had an unpleasant, let's say, a period of time, you may do the Ho'oponopono, remain neutral, but you do not either want to restore that relationship, do they?
Correct. No, no,
So,
no. Correct.
right, okay.
Correct. It's unfortunate to say this is somebody I don't respect. I love this person, but I don't respect.
Hmm,
It behavior proved to me that you're not dependable.
right.
I love you. If you need something, I'm there for you. But I'm not gonna have the kind of like unrestrained communication that I have with the rest of my family,
Right, right.
because there's no trust.
Understood.
But I can clear the air. I can certainly have a conversation to let you know this is where I am. I will do that. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. I'm being
Mm.
honest. I'm not there yet. I have, there's too much emotion that are being bottled up.
Well, when you do the torsion field, can you direct it in that person's or in your thoughts as that torsion field is being created?
Well, you know what? Um, I okay. I hesitate to project my torsion field onto somebody when I don't have their permission.
Oh, I see what you mean. I had more an internal sort of
Or
neutral
for me, for my part, my
for that
50%. Yeah,
specific
yeah, yeah.
condition.
Yes, yes. I'm certainly going to work on that, on my 50%, to try to figure out a way to negotiate that. Yes, yes. The field will help me. And as I said, trust the field. The field is highly intelligent. You're going to get all these hints. You're going to get all this awareness. Do the torsion field this way, change it. Because the timing, for example, to do each torsion field, as an example, first guardian, you might come in, you do 2 breaths. Second guardian, you may need to do 3 breaths to see the whole thing complete. The fourth guardian might be 4 breaths, and you go back to 1 breath for after that. And however it wants to create it, lean into it and let it happen. The field is highly intelligent and highly sophisticated. And there are moments after doing the torsion field, you're trying to accomplish something or work on some bottle up emotion that you're trying to, again, accelerated conflict resolution, to resolve, to repair. As you're about to trying to repair it, it doesn't necessarily happen while you're doing the meditation, the practice. It could be while you're cooking, while you're driving, while you're at work. All of a sudden, there's an insight, flash. Oh my God! It just comes in, and when it comes in, you know it because there is such truth and veracity in it. It comes with such certainty. It just washes over you. And it's a whole packet of information. And I'm going to add to this one more thing. I had said before that the ascension is that it's that understanding of yourself, the shift of yourself as being part of this, of being connected to everything, this universal, this gigantic verticality. When you're in that state, you're very aware. In fact, when I'm in that state, when I walk down the street, I can feel the torsion field around me. So that when somebody is coming behind me or in front of me, I know when they cross into the field. Okay? So energetically, I can actually feel it. And what I can say to you also about this is that awareness of you negotiate or shifting your awareness or your consciousness into that field, you need to be very aware that when somebody, if you need to change something, if you need to, as we were talking about the field being intelligence, it will download information to you. You don't have the awareness of everything else that exists in the universe. I have access to all of it. But when you have an emotion that you're trying to figure out, like in my instance, it's something I'm trying to bottle up to resolve. When I go into the field with honesty, with sincerity, trying to resolve it, it will give me access to what exists in the blessed field about that particular thing, almost like an entire module of consciousness will jump into me. It will wash over me. Do you understand what I'm saying? If I have to, for example, teach a class about XYZ, and I do a meditation about it, I pray and I ask the guardian to give me guidance, or a chapter in my book, that awareness jumps in like a complete module and just goes in.
So you set an intention perhaps before
Yes.
you do the torsion field. Oh, that's very good.
Yes. Or sometimes I'm midway in the torsion field, or I'm at the end of it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You know, and it doesn't matter. And all of a sudden the intention comes in and I'm trying to resolve it. How do I handle this situation or that situation? All of a sudden, and what happened to me is that eventually I go blank. Like I'm staring, looking at grass grow. I go blank. I don't pass out. I just go blank. Okay? And in that blankness, all of a sudden, something washed over me. The answer, boom, just hit me. So this is what you would call a download, because that entire module, okay, here's the funny part about it. It has a physical, visceral, almost lava lamp wash or a wave. That's what it feels like. It's very liquid, like a wave hitting me, okay? It just hits me. I can feel it. And sometimes I have words or thoughts that comes with it. But if I spend time focusing on it, it will expand into more and more and more because it's an entire module. It's not just a sentence. Like, for example, in the channeling with the Galactic Region Council I sent you about a month ago, over a month ago, There are parts in there where sentences were, I scribed them and recorded them, where there is a lot more behind it that more nuance. That when I reread the channeling, they come back because the module is in me. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Mhm.
So I want you to understand that it's not that you become omniscient and you have all access to all the knowledge in the universe, although you do have access to it. But it's a strange access. It's not, um, uh, it's a collective awareness that will come to you piece by piece as you need it.
On a need-to-know basis.
Yes, and this is what, remember that? That
Mhm.
I keep saying all the time, it's on a need to know basis. When you need it, it's going to show up,
Mhm. Very good.
right? So I want you to be aware of this is that at first I was confused because when initial elevation was happening for me, I was very confused. I'm like, I feel incredibly rested and I spend a lot of time in stillness and in silence. And I go into what I call the blank. I don't pass out. It's not passing out. It's just that I feel so at rest. It's like I'm staring into, I become almost like slightly catatonic. But it's not in a bad way, it's actually in a positive way. I'm in awe of the expansion that I'm getting. That's what it is. I'm in awe. And then that that awe translate often if I have a thought. Sometimes the thought is not even conscious. Sometimes I'm not even thinking about it consciously in any way. It's something that happened 3 days earlier. Or it's a conversation I had with a client a week ago. And then boom, the answer just like the entire module just comes in and wash right over me. There are times when I'm with my clients and the problem and they present something to me that's so difficult to solve. In all honesty, I don't know how to solve it. I've had many instances in which I'm with a client and where I said, take a break, go to the bathroom, I'm going to get some water. I don't know how to solve your problem. Right now, I don't know. And as they go to the bathroom, they go do something, and all of a sudden, something just, I make myself a cup of tea, and then something just hit me. And it's typically like an omen. Go in that direction. And the moment I start pulling on the thread, the whole thing gets resolved. It's an entire module that shows up like a little string or just a wave. And the moment you begin to focus on it, the whole thing expands. Any other questions or comments? So take your time when you're doing the torsion field to witness what the guardian are doing around you. I hope this image helps you in your visualization that the central funnel is inside of you. And the whole thing is created all around you, and it's an entire vortex. It's a whole donut. And if you can understand that and you know that, then it's gonna help you a lot, allowing the torsion field. And the more you're understanding, it's a torsion field of neutrality. Nothing in time and space can touch me. I am in accelerated conflict resolution with everything. I'm not battling. The sword is down, the shield is down. I'm not battling. I'm not battling with myself. I'm not battling with anyone else, any fallen angel or guardian angel. I'm not battling.
You at peace with yourself
That's
and
correct.
with the world in a way.
Yeah, yeah. You're at peace with yourself. You're at peace with your subconscious mind. You're at peace with, and the more you do this, and the more you understand, that's what the gifts are doing. The first gift, and the second gift, and the third gift, and as they counter rotate and they keep nesting right on top of each other. By the time you get to the 12th guardian, you know. You get what's going to happen is that when you get to the 12th guardian, you're going to be in that state of awe, like quite often. And then at one day, it's not going to be just awe. You're going to be inside this white volume. You're going to find yourself slipping right into it.
Mhm.
It's very jarring, I have to tell you.
Mhm.
It's very disorienting and very jarring. And equally important as well is that a lot of times when the module of awareness shows up, it may show up with multiple, like a fan, because we when we're in 3D, we think one cause, one effect. A lot of time, the effect that we're dealing with, or the disempowerment, or the lack that people are having, or we're having, we keep thinking of the lack as having one cause, but there are times of like it's 4 or 5 things.
Mhm.
and and when you're in that connection, all of them can show up at the same time. And if that happens, be very aware. It's because of the you have. It's a good sign. It's because you have surrendered so much. You have let go so much, and you have done the practice so well that you're now seeing through the instead of being a singularity separated from God, you're seeing that issue through the lens of being part of a collective and having collective awareness. You're seeing it through the eyes of multiplicity. Now, granted, not all of them have the same percentage of influence to what you're dealing with. Some of them are far reaching, others are closer, but you will know this. The field is going to tell you. Trust the field, trust it. Don't doubt it and come back to me and question me. If the field is telling you something, trust it. And trust the first impression. The second impression is wrong. The first impression is right. No matter how crazy it is. Like for that client I was telling you about, the first impression was the hair. And I thought to myself, her hair? How does the problem that she had with us is connected to that? I don't get it.
Mhm.
And then I realized when I was talking to her, when we were face to face, this is when I realized I'm like, I'm gonna say this because I as a black man, I have sister and a mother. You don't talk about their hair because otherwise you're gonna get yourself slapped across the face. So I was very hesitant. I said, "You're gonna forgive me for this, but this is what I got." And she laughed. She said two other healers brought the same thing to her before. And the funny thing about it is that a year ago I had a dream of her with a different hairstyle.
Mhm.
So sometime when the awareness comes in, and I was like, I sent her a text. I said everything else that I saw, but I omitted the first one because I was like, I'm not having. I don't want her to start hating me for trying to say something about her hair. If you're black, you know what I'm talking about. I don't have to explain this. You know what I'm talking about. So, um,
So Pierre, when you if you meet somebody
yeah,
and then you you have that impression about that person
hmm,
and you don't really know them, but you either feel you can trust them or you feel you can't.
yeah.
Um, okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Go ahead.
Okay.
Mhm.
So well, for me, usually the first impression is an indication that maybe I should look deeper because I'm not sure about this person, whether I can trust it or not. And sometimes I will say the whole no prayer, keep it in mind and everything. And then if I meet the person a second time, then I say, oh, well, maybe I was right about that impression or not, that kind of thing. Does that happen sometimes?
Yes.
Mhm.
What I'm saying is, as well, is that since you're going to be doing the torsion field and there is an afterglow,
Okay.
okay? In other words, you do the torsion field in the morning, then you go out or whatever, or somebody come visit, and
Mhm.
then you have an impression. Somebody you never met before, you have an impression.
Mhm.
You need to trust that impression,
Okay.
okay? Sometimes the impression is just a quick sketch that
Mhm.
needs further examination,
Mhm.
that you need to go back into it and set an open and try to figure out deeper what the
Mhm.
background of it is, and it will expand. Or
Mhm.
other time is just the impression. A lot of time, sometimes some of the things that come up during or before during healing with clients is so crazy that I remember one client, I was doing a healing for her. I saw very quickly, a man with very bad teeth. And I
Mhm.
remember after the healing was done, I said, I just saw a man with very bad teeth.
Mhm.
He said, what do you mean? I said, I don't know. It's just a brown hair with very bad teeth. It's a flash. It just came like, you blink, you're going to miss it.
Mhm.
It just goes very quickly.
Mhm.
When these impressions come in, it's like that very quickly, you
Mhm.
should pay attention. You should pay attention. Or for that matter, the sound and the hiss in the sound on your ear increases in one ear. Very strong. It's trying to tell you, pay attention to what's happening right now. So when those kind of impressions come in that quickly, I know I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
because the flashlight of the torsion field, the verticality, it's like a flashlight, a floodlight above my head, and my entire, and actually it's me all the way back to God, right? It's me in neutrality all the way back to God. So when I go in the subway, it shrinks and goes in the subway with me. When I come out, it pops out and becomes bigger. And and if I'm in that state, I get an impression. That impression is dead on. I see things about people a lot of times
Mhm.
that they don't want me to see,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I don't say anything.
Yeah.
I see their vulnerability. I see all. I don't say anything. I smile or I have compassion in my heart for them because that connection will give you access to all kinds of things. And how you handle that information will determine your level of spiritual maturity. Are you going to be compassionate, or are you going to try to use that against them? I had one of my friends that I hang out with. I kind of predicted something that was going to happen to him, and he got scared. He's like, "You scare me." I'm like, "Okay." And I had a conversation with him. I said, "I love you very much." He has a lot of health problem, and I kind of foresaw something that was going to happen to him. And I said to him, I just want you to know that I don't want to scare you. And let's talk man to man. If you don't want me to tell you what I see, I will never tell you anything that I see again. You tell me if this is okay with you.
Mhm.
Because I didn't mean to startle you and scare you.
Right. Mhm.
That was not the intention. It's because I love you, I wanted to give you a warning that something is wrong.
Okay, this is you're headed in the direction now of a thought that has been bubbling in the back of my mind throughout this class. Compassion, love, unconditional love. And it makes me wonder if neutrality is a stepping stone to that love and compassion, a godlike state. Not that I'm anywhere near that, but is that the ultimate,
Yes,
that love and compassion, rather than neutrality, even, but it is neutrality that will take us to that compassion.
yes, the neutrality comes from an understanding of interdependence. That you and everybody else around you, every aspect, every plant, animal, everything is interdependent. And
Oh,
that interdependence will bring you into having a kind and open heart and a love for everything. And that will cause you to become neutral and accelerate conflict resolution because the neutrality is very directly connected to the fact that opposite to that, what we're experiencing when we are separated from God in our consciousness is polarization and survival, top dog, bottom dog. So the idea of neutrality is to find the middle ground, to find a way to resolve conflict. And that conflict eventually, because ultimately there's only two emotions:
Mhm.
there's fear and there's love. Every higher emotion, including neutrality, is a derivative of love. Love encompasses everything. All the higher emotions are in there. So Janice, you're totally right. The compassion, the love, the mercy, the kindness, the decency, the understanding, all of that is weaved into the if you think of love as a braid, all of these other things are like hairstring into that braid.
and that braid in total is neutrality.
No, the braid in total is love
Yeah, okay. And but you can't get there unless you're neutral.
because we are walking from survival and battle.
Uh-huh.
You need to be neutral in order for you to get into love.
So uh, that's the portal you have to walk through.
Yes, we need to be neutral. Now there are other paths of ascension that are different than what we're doing, but the way the Melchizedek order of neutrality is training us, it's a path of neutrality.
Oh, hmm,
There are other paths that teach different things. There's the path of service. There's the path of devotion. There are different paths,
hmm.
okay, that teaches different ways to achieve that. It's not that one path is better than another. Again, a fan. There are multiple, you know what I'm saying? There are
Mhm.
multiple ways that access that get you to the same place.
Yeah, I understand. Yes. Very interesting.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. I mean, there are lots of other, there are other, there's a lot of other teaching that are about service. There are other teaching that are about more intellectual and technical stuff. There are other teaching that are more about, you know, there are multiple aspects, there are multiple paths that leads to ascension.
Mhm.
But the path that we are being taught, that I'm sharing with you, is about the being neutral, because we are and particularly for this time that we're in, there's such polarization. That neutrality is the frequency that will level it out. All right, let's take a 5 minute break and then we'll do the closing meditation. 5 minutes.
No, Pierre, life is so beautiful when you think about it. It's just it's it's amazing. I mean, it's forgiving. It's I mean, it's all of the. I mean, what you want to make of it in a way.
Yes.
Uh, so I was just reflecting on that when I was going to the bathroom.
Yes. Yes. It certainly is.
Okay. Oh, turn it on.
Take a very deep and slow breath. And as you inhale and exhale deeply and slowly, allow the universal life force that permeates everything to enter into your lungs. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. And let your soul and your awareness drop in the middle of your chest. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. And the guardian lines of light approached you, offering to gift you their shields of light and protection and a band of neutrality. If you are ready to accept this gift at this time, answer affirmatively. And let the energy of the first guardian begin in the core of the earth, counter-rotating, passing through the bottom of my feet, moving through my core, exiting outside of my head, and being projected into the top of the fourth dimensional body, while creating all around me a torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the top of my head extends and it attracts now the energy of the second guardian, cascading down from the top of the fifth dimensional body, passing down into the top of my head, moving through my core, exiting at the bottom of my feet and going into the core of the earth while creating all around me. The torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the bottom of my feet extends and it attracts now the energy of the third guardian coming in from the core of the earth, counter-rotating. Moving through the bottom of my feet, passing through my core, exiting outside of my head, and going into the top of the sixth-dimensional body while creating all around me. The torsion field of neutrality. The axis at the top of my head extends. And it attracts now the energy of the fourth guardian coming in from the top of the seventh dimensional body system, cascading down, rotating clockwise, dropping into the top of my head, passing through my core, going into the very core and center of the earth while creating all around me. The torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gifts received. The axis at the bottom of my feet extends. And it attracts now the energy of the fifth guardian counter rotating, moving to the bottom of my feet, passing through my core, exiting outside of my head, and going into the top of the 8th dimensional body while creating all around me. A torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gifts received. The axis at the top of your head extend, and it attracts now the energy of the 6th guardian, coming in from the top of the 9th dimensional body, rotating clockwise, cascading down, dropping into the top of my head, moving through my core, exiting at the bottom of my feet, going into the core of the earth while creating all around me. A torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the bottom of my feet extends, and it attracts now the energy of the 7th guardian, beginning in the core of the earth, rotating clockwise, passing through the bottom of my feet, moving through my core, exiting outside of my head, and going into the top of the 10th dimensional body while creating all around me a torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the top of my head extends, and it attracts now the energy of the 8th guardian, coming in from the top of the 11th dimensional body, rotating clockwise, passing through my core, the top of my head, my core, the bottom of my feet, and going into the core of the earth while creating all around me. The torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the bottom of my feet extends, and it attracts now the energy of the 9th guardian, counter-rotating, beginning in the core of the earth, passing through the bottom of my feet, moving through my core, exiting outside of my head, and going into the top of the 12th dimensional body while creating all around me. The torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the top of my head extends, and it attracts now the energy of the 10th guardian, coming in from the top of the 13th dimensional body, rotating clockwise, passing through my core, exiting at the bottom of my feet, and going into the core of the earth while creating all around me a torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the bottom of my feet extends. And it attracts now the energy of the eleventh guardian, coming in from the core of the earth, counter-rotating, passing through the bottom of my feet, moving through my core, exiting outside of my head, and going into the top of the 14th dimensional body while creating all around me a torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the top of my head extends and it attracts down the energy of the 12th guardian, coming in from the top of the 15th dimensional body, rotating clockwise, passing through the top of my head, moving through my core, exiting at the bottom of my feet, and going into the core of the earth while creating all around me. A torsion field of neutrality. deep and profound reverence for the gift received. I am in the rest and stillness of God. Thank you for the blessings. I accept the gifts and I receive with gratitude. Take a very deep and slow breath, and whenever you feel ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you, Pierre.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And I think it was the 10th one. I had this vision of a um what it was water and small like mountains or little things in there. It was beautiful.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
At the end of the meditation,
Mhm.
there were little puffy clouds,
Oh, okay.
and they were kind of whitish grayish,
Mm.
and they were in the shape of a heart,
Oh,
with the heart center open.
wow.
And then I looked in, and my face was in there.
Your face did what?
Okay. At the end of the meditation, you have to tell, I can tell it.
Okay.
At the end of the meditation, there were, it was in this sky, and there were puffy clouds, not way, way up, but, puffy clouds. And the puffy clouds were kind of white, gray. And, but the puffy clouds had an opening like a heart.
Mm-hmm.
And inside of the heart,
Mhm.
when I looked, I saw my face.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Nice, nice, nice. Any other comments or questions before we close?
Just to say thank you, please. Thank you, Pierre.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you, everyone, and I'll talk to you next week. Blessings. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. Love you all.
Good night. Love you too. Bye.